Now, the governing New Patriotic Party is demanding the resignation of the national chairman of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Samuel Alfosuampofo, over comments attributed to him in a leaked tape of a meeting at which he was present. Mr. Alfosuampofo is alleged on that tape to have incited party members to wage a relentless war against the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah. In the viral audio recording, the NDC national chair is also heard conceding that the pro-NDC militia group Azoka Boys were present during the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency by-election, which turned violent. Now, transcripts of the entire tape are available at myjoyonline.com, but let's listen to a portion of the remarks attributed to the NDC's national chair.
Because they have been trained, they have a reputation to protect. You are going to give people on the streets, you put police uniform on them, and you are giving the police bad name. So there are several police people who are not happy. And you see, it is also shifting the support of the police back to us. Because you know, in 2016, the police were against us. So that is that aspect. The other aspect is the EC chair. You see, we must wage a relentless war on this EC chair. I mean, she doesn't want to see my face because when he sees me, but I have told him, look at the statement that she made. First, our parliamentary candidate.
Now, the NPP Communications Director Yabwa Biansalma at a news conference on Wednesday accused former President John Mahama of using extremist, violent and greedy means in leading the NDC in its attempt to recapture power in 2020.
The leadership of the NPP, as we speak, has scheduled a meeting on the matter of the invitation, because the leadership have scheduled their meeting and this matter has happened before that meeting. I believe the leadership of the NPP will remain progressive. I believe the leadership of the NPP will insist on the right thing being done. It is not for the NPP to pull back. It is for the NDC to accept that they are wrong, to accept that violence is not good for this country, and to accept to disband and remove from the fabric of the NDC the thuggery that they intend to unleash on this country. We do not believe threats of assassination and kidnapping belong in the dialogue of this country going forward. And we will not pull back. We will still want to have dialogue and ensure that we clean up what we have in the country. This is over a 2-hour tape. If you listen to the entire recording, you will find other supposedly very responsible voices on that tape. The ramifications are enormous, enormous. People on that tape representing the political party in other responsible fears of this government. And it is a matter that we must take on the chest. It is a matter that the NDC must come out and accept mea culpa and go out there and restore their right to participate at that moral level in the politics of this country.
The chairman should resign. Thank you.
I believe the chairman should resign.
Now, he also urged the rank and file of the NDC to oust its current leadership. For the comments. Well, the police in the last hour has written to the national chairman of the NDC, inviting him to the Criminal Investigations Department of the leaked tape, and I'll share the contents of that letter with you. So it's a letter of invitation, Mr. Samuel Alfosuampofo. The Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service has intercepted an audio message circulating in both traditional and social media on Wednesday, 27 February 2019, in which you are alleged to have made some comments that have some security implications. You are therefore requested to report to the undersigned at the CID headquarters on Thursday, 28 February 2019 at 10 a.m. to assist in investigations. And this is signed by J. Cheneboa, ACP, the Deputy Director General for Director General CID. Now, the NDC in the last few hours has issued a statement describing the leaked audio recording as concocted and false, and I'll share that with you as well. It says the NDC responds to alleged leaked recording involving its national chairman. It says the NDC states for the records that the statements and attributions contained on the said tape are concocted and false. They are inconsistent with the character and track record of Chairman Ofosu Ampofo and do not reflect the values he has always stood for. The maliciously depraved and clearly doctored tape has been contrived by some devious elements in the MPP and government to undermine the NDC and its national chairman. It continues, having said this, the NDC is fully aware of evil and wicked plots by certain elements within national security and government to spy on meetings of its officials, record and in turn doctor such recordings for their spiteful ends. Such state-sponsored espionage is dastardly and shameful. The party is currently considering all legal options available to it and will take appropriate steps to halt this phenomenon immediately. As we state without equivocation that the position of the NDC on the matters that have been alleged on the audio is a matter of public record and that the party does not need to resort to so-called secret meetings to hatch the sardonic plots captured on the fake tapes being circulated. And that is signed by Sami Jainfi, who's the National Communications Officer of the NDC. Now, the past month has seen some of the most worrying characteristics of the nation in fear. It's been a period when private and party militia groups have rained terror on ordinary citizens, from the Ayawaso West Wogong by-election to the deadly attack by the pro-NDC group, the Hawks, at the party's regional office in Kumasi. Now, in the heat of the situation, public comments by the leaders of the NDC and MPP pointed to a semblance of a solution. There's our concern, however, that the public expressions of commitment to end this disaster may be mere rhetoric. JoyNews editor Fifi Kumsing analyzes the situation in the following report in the wake of the release of this leaked audio purported to be that of the NDC National Chairman, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo.
That was Baoleshi, national security operatives, on a mission to seize weapons amid resistance by members of the NDC. The worry there was the security men may have included members of MPP militia groups. Shortly after came this one.
This guy shot him in the thigh. Yes. As he was trying to run towards the party office, he shot him in the back again, and then came closer to shoot him again.
In the NDC's own courts, an affiliate militia group, the Hawks, launched a deadly attack, killing one person and leaving another battling for his life.
We saw 3 times, and beside that, he turned there and came back to the other guy too and shot him about 3 times.
So 2 people have been shot?
2 people have been shot. But we realized that unconfirmed one was dead, but we didn't know yet.
In the heat of this quagmire, there was a call to action. Ordinary Ghanaians demanded this error be corrected.
We call these things political vigilantism, and we don't quite appreciate how bad. It is plain warlordism.
NCC will continue to condemn, name and shame all political parties who endorse, support, sponsor and or identify themselves with any of these groups until these groups are disbanded in word and in deed.
A few commitments by the politicians sent signals there was hope on the horizon. NDC Chairman Samuel Ofosu Ampofo.
I believe that the time has come for us as a political class to say that this development is not good for the future of this country. We need to collectively stand up against this, development. That is what we politicians collectively must resolve to avoid, because nobody knows who the next victim will be.
Then came a presidential call, pregnant with words akin to a commitment.
I want to use the platform of this message to make a sincere, passionate appeal to the leaders of the two main political parties in our country, MPP and NDC, to come together as soon as possible, preferably next week, to agree on appropriate measures to bring an end to this worrying and unacceptable phenomenon of vigilantism in our body politic.
And an even stronger commitment. But it's Mr. Ofosu-Ampofo latest tapes that give cause for worry.
Overt operations. We'll go after them. But we'll not go after them face to face. We'll have to use tactical approaches to make life very uncomfortable.
The man who was recently heard committing to peace is now strategizing to destabilize it. He rather talks about more attacks.
Police are not happy because they have been trained. They have a reputation to protect. You are going to bring people on the streets. You put police uniform on them and you are giving the police bad name. So there are several police people who are not happy. And we say it is also shifting the support of the police back to us because you know in 2016 the police were against us.
Attacks on the IGP, the EC chairperson, take her to the cleaners was the instruction.
So that is the other aspect is the EC chair. You see, we must wage a relentless war on this EC chair. I mean, she doesn't want to see my face because when she sees me, but I have told her, look at the statement that she made.
Today, the NDC, considered the main alternative to the governing MPP, has admitted its chairman made the comments. Deputy Director of Communications, Kweku Buahe, and then the Director of Communication, Sami Jemfi, confirms this, but claims the tape was doctored.
The tape which is being circulated in the media is a doctored tape. It is totally fake, and we will entreat the people of this country to treat it with the content it deserves. It has all the trappings of a diversionary tactic, and it is obvious that it is a desperate attempt by this government to divert attention from the latest expose by investigative journalist Anazarin Yawanas, which has uncovered some appointees of this government as engaging in illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey.
These aside, the MPP's own commitment to disbanding these violent militia groups must be scrutinized, while national organizer Samia Oku talks about efforts to invite the NDC for talks.
We will definitely reach out to them this week. I'm sure it will only be proper that you give them maybe a day after their Congress so that you can then go back to them. Nonetheless, the party has taken steps for us to also engage our people across it. I'm sure we've had a situation where the NPP has been guilty, the NDC has been guilty in terms of these groups. And so both the NDC and the NPP will have to find a way of engaging the base of our party.
The communications director, Yao Boabia Samoa, is pointing to a dead end.
From the way the boot for boot policy was announced from far away Volta region, that presidential aspirant Mahama then must have known and been part of the orchestrated effort to create the false appearance of insecurity.
Indeed, in the event of any confusion in Ghana, ordinary citizens will be the worst affected, while those at the high echelons of political office live in their cozy hideouts abroad. For a lot of Ghanaians, the recent developments point to one reality. Ghana's politicians think more about their party's winning power than ordinary citizens living safer. But in spite of these, we at Joy News will push for this. Disband party militias now. Yes, disband party militias now. Fifi Kumsin, Joy News.
Indeed, we here at Joy News insist that we disband party militias. Now, we're returning to earlier story on the leaked tape, or purported to be that of the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress. And just as I indicated earlier, the NDC in the last few hours has issued a statement describing the leaked audio recording as concocted and false. And I read you an extract from that statement. It says, the NDC states for the records that the statements and attributions contained on the said tape are concocted and false. Now, that statement is signed by the NDC's communications officer, Sammy Jemfi, who earlier Wednesday had insisted the tape was doctored. Now, his deputy, Kweku Boahing, however, confirmed the audio and its content as truth when he spoke on Adom FM. Let's listen to him.
Ibia okay, Ibia party for na editum party for no so ni je ho. One ne party for ni shia.
The party accepts all what he said. Party members are happy about it. He met his party members. They are happy about his utterances. That is why they clapped at a point. It was a meeting of our communications team. We meet once every week. Bad people joined the meeting and recorded the discussion. Canadian Japan made portions of the audio available last week. What you hear today is the rest of them. This will not discourage us from talking about the bad things happening in government. It's a communication meeting with myself, Sammy Jemfi, and Akugan as leaders. We meet all our communicators to strategize our security and communication. Honorable Fusuampofo joined us to motivate us. That is why you heard people clapping. Because we are happy. If someone doesn't understand and want to burn the sea, they should go ahead.
Now, some bodybuilders at Nima here in Accra have described as worrying the activities of well-built men usually hired to perpetrate electoral violence. They say they bear the brunt of the party militia groups as all bodybuilders are lumped together and tagged as violent. Maxwell Agbagba has been interacting with some of them at her gym in Nima, who also believe party militias will have to be disbanded now.
Well, we're here at the Don Fuzi gym here at Nima. There's a lot of bodybuilding going on. A lot of the people here come here very in the morning to train. What I've heard is no pain, no gain. But I think I'll let go of this. Probably when I finish, then I'll be in appropriate, attire to train for this purpose. Well, we've been speaking to them about our campaign to disband party militias, now. We've also been talking about the perception and the notion out there that a lot of bodybuilders, people with big biceps, are actually engaged in violence. They've been debunking, that perception, and they told us that they've also heard that. But we're bringing the conversation of party militias here to find out from them also what they make, of it.
Oh, right, says Ugun. As a Ugu, yeah, macho funufi. You see, I must say, Uhu macho maya. Now, if you say, oh, yeah, bad boy, and you're bad.
Well, he says he is excited about a campaign to disband party militias because a lot of people, anytime they see bodybuilders, anytime they see people with big biceps, they think that they are violent. They think that, in his own words, they think they are bad boys, right?
Yes, yes. Monday, strongest
okay, for competition.
Competition.
Okay. Well, he says he's engaged in bodybuilding because of competition and not for the purposes of violence.
I would say it's not good because most of the times it makes other people see bodybuilders as how they call it, troublemakers and that kind of thing. So I would say that the government should try its possible best. He has to disband those that he has within his party. I know when he does that, other parties will emulate his example and they also disband theirs. But if he decide, because those guys are guys who we know, all of us know that they are being supported by some of the big men within their own party. When they are taking the action, they will not know who is there. It might be your brother, it might be your cousin, your wife, your child, that kind of thing.
it's high time. It's good that you, the media, you are doing something about this. It's a perception that people say on bodybuilders, okay? Like wherever there's garden or something, when they see a muscular guy, they believe you are for violence.
Would you say that perception is there because of the activities of party militia groups?
I think it's another factor. As I said earlier, people have a different mentality about bodybuilders, okay?
Now, the local currency, the Ghana cedi, has experienced significant depreciation in the last few weeks, with traders requiring as much as 5 cedis, 50 pesos for $1. Businesses are blaming the situation on what they describe as the limited amount of dollars on the market, despite assurances by the Bank of Ghana that it has released a considerable amount into the system. Though the state of the currency was conspicuously missing in President Akufo-Addo's State of the Nation address last week, he's finally acknowledged the challenge with the cedi. At the commissioning of an $80 million ceramic and tiles factory at Bone, he assured steps are being taken by government to stabilize the situation soon.
Inflation has also come down significantly since we came to power. All of these are efforts that we're making to improve the business environment and make it possible for our enterprises in Ghana to be competitive. I'm aware of the anxiety there is in business circles and through the population about the recent depreciation of the cedi. I am extremely upset and anxious about it too. But I want to assure you that all efforts are being made to arrest the decline and restore the cedi to stability in order to improve the competitiveness of Ghanaian industry. And I think very soon you will be seeing the results of our policy. The various initiatives that are being taken also to open up export avenues and market access by the Ministry of Trade and Industry through all of these now standard initiatives that have been taken through the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, the AFCTA, the African Continental Trade Area, which we want to see come into effect this year, the revival of our opportunities under the Africa Growth Opportunity Act, AGOA, with the United States, and with the partnership that we have with the European Union, are all efforts to open up new trade avenues, as of course the trade avenues in Asia that we're now following.
Now, the factory by Chinese firm Fujian Cento offers direct employment to 1,500 people and sources 90% of its raw materials locally. President Akufo-Addo indicated his government's industrial transformation agenda has identified weaknesses that are being addressed.
Some of those are the high cost of doing business, lack of access to medium and long-term financing, poor infrastructure and logistics support for enterprises and commercial activities, inadequate skilled manpower, and limited access to technology, innovation, and research. All of these are being addressed by the policies of government as we seek to bring down interest rates so that we increase the ability of businesses to fund their activities, where we're putting in place new arrangements for both our Agricultural Development Bank and the National Investment Bank so that it can be more focused on providing the funds for medium and long-term investment in our industrial development. In the same way, the extensive infrastructural development that the country will be seeing rolled out are an attempt to address the issues of poor infrastructure and logistics support. We're also placing a great deal of emphasis on our TVET training so that we can fill the gap of inadequate supply of technical manpower for our industries. And in the same way, stepping up our promotion of interest in science and technology and their application for the development of our economy.
Now let's do some fact-checking now, and it focuses on claims made by President Akufo-Addo on the economy and health sectors when he delivered this year's State of the Nation address last week. Raymond Aqua throws more light on the claims and the verdict in this report.
Let's start with the president's claim on increasing GDP rates and decline in debt to GDP ratios and inflation.
Production in the economy, as measured by real GDP growth, has picked up very strongly in the last 2 years. From 3.4% in 2016, real GDP growth increased to 8.1% in 2017. In 2018, provisional data for the first 3 quarters indicate a strong real GDP growth of 6%.
This is completely true. The Statistical Service, in its annual rebased GDP growth rates at constant 2013 prices report, corroborates the president's claim on the GDP in 2016 being 3.4%, which saw a massive improvement driven largely by the oil sector, to 8.1% in 2017. The president also stated that the nurse assistants that passed their exams in 2016 commenced work by February 1, 2019.
These nurse assistants belong to the tranche that passed her exams in 2016 from government health training institutes and have commenced work by 1st February 2019.
This is false. The claim that all the 14,000 nurse assistants preventive and nurse assistants clinical commenced work on February 1, 2019 is not true. After they completed school in November 1, 2016, they had their results in February 2017. Since then, all of them have not commenced work as the president indicated. This is corroborated by the February 25, 2019 statement from the Ghana Health Service signed by the Director General, which indicated that the recruitment process is rather commencing today, February 27, 2019.
We're taking a break here on JoyNews Prime to bring you business news. But still ahead in the bulletin, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has deferred a planned review of electricity tariffs, citing, among others, a takeover of the electricity distribution sector by a new entity, the Public Distribution Services Company. Meanwhile, in business, government is charging the new ECG managers to work at reducing revenue losses.
If we are transferring the operations of ECG to PDS today, we can be excited about significant investment that will come to the power sector.
Now, if you're worried about a possible upward review of electricity tariff in the next quarter, then be assured that electricity tariffs will remain the same until the end of June. That is the assurance from the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. We're expected to have a review, an upward review in electricity tariffs that has been deferred. Here's a statement that was sent in by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. And it states the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission announces to its stakeholders and the general public that electricity tariffs shall remain the same until the end of the second quarter of June of 2019. That's June 30, 2019. The Commission's decision on tariffs changes will be announced in due course to be effective July 1, 2019. He goes on to say the Commission's decision is due to critical emerging issues in the sector which are expected to affect the final tariff setting. Amongst others, it mentions the emerging issues are related to the planned relocation of the car powership plant, resulting in fuel switch savings from heavy fuel oil to natural gas. Secondly, reductions in the price of natural gas are anticipated due to ongoing negotiations by government. It goes on to conclude that these matters are outside the purview of PRC, but their outcomes are likely to have measurable impact on the Commission's decision. It's signed by Mami Dufie Ofori, the Executive Secretary of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. Now, the minority in Parliament is warning the PRC's decision not to review electricity tariffs will result in the collapse of companies operating in the energy sector and send the country back into the days of prolonged power outages. The regulator, as you just heard, as I shared with you, has deferred a planned tariff review by another 3 months, despite demands from the utility providers for an increase. Minority MP on Parliament Energy Committee, Edward Bauer, says that utility companies are reeling under heavy debt and government should allow the increases so they can survive.
The other utility, remember that they are a bulk consumer, almost 2 billion. What it tells you very clearly, that if you are going to tell the the agencies to still wait for the next 4 months for you to consider a review by the close of June 30, what it simply tells us is that we are going to collapse this agencies. And the whole idea of ESLA that was supposed to retire all indebtedness and ensure that we don't accrue extra debt is simply going to just be a mirage, particularly the fact that the tariffs are not cost reflective. So you look at the whole value chain. The whole value chain is being corrupted by virtue of the fact that we are playing politics with our utilities. And if we play politics with our utilities, my brother will go back to doing so.
Okay, so you think this could also possibly have effects on power stability generally and could cause a return of the power crisis?
I can predict that by the close of March, we will go to load shedding. And they will come and give, because one, if they cannot pay, say, car power cannot buy fuel. If they cannot buy fuel, they can't generate. If they can't generate, there will be a deficit of generation. If VRA cannot buy fuel, they can't generate. There will be a this of that. And particularly with the government, you can shape the government utilities to still continue doing those things on credit. You can't do that for the private companies, the IPPs. If they realize that they are going underwater, they would definitely stop producing power. It's not true. The main reason is simple. PURC sent a proposal to Flagstaff House that they were suggesting a minimum increase of about 80% in terms of tariffs because of the reduction that we did in 2018. Government said that 80% was too high and they were going for 30%. And the truth of the matter is that the utility said that if it's 80%, they cannot run. That is the main reason. So there's still a tussle between the utilities, PURC, and government.
And for you, it boils back to government interference in the work of the PURC, which is resulting in this.
It boils down to government interference, it boils down to mismanagement of the economy that has led to the depreciation of the city, and it boils down to corruption in the various utilities. These are the factors that are making us have this problem.
Meanwhile, former Deputy Energy Minister Katie Hammond is asking government to abrogate 12 oil exploration deals the NDC government signed with various oil companies, claiming it is making the nation lose money.
But the reason why I'm calling for the abrogation of all of them is because, as far as I know, as out of today, only a couple, and when I say a couple, I mean exactly a couple, no further extrapolation of a couple, are the companies which have been able to at least start to do a modicum of work on the 3-year preliminary, exploratory work that they were supposed to do. Invest so much money, get the work done, and then let's see what gets on. You aren't going to hold the blocks, Ghana hostage to the blocks, our fortunes. You're not going to hold them hostage to the blocks that you have. You would not work on them. You are holding all the 10 to 12 oil blocks. As far as I understand, not a single one has done anything, let alone, don't talk about discovery oil, because they haven't even done the initial exploratory work. You see it? And now you move from there. This is the company, these are the companies that you awarded the blocks to, and then you move from there and criticize, and you want to take the shine out of what the MPP, you see, and we're holding on to our rich oil resource. These guys have come out with about 550 million. 550 million barrels we're talking about. You guys collectively are sitting on over 15,000, close to 20,000 acreage of our oil blocks. When you're asking me that, is it at a cost to us? Delete that question.
Live in the Greater Accra, Greater Accra's Afenya district, and you are illegally drawing electricity supply from the national grid using approved meters or defaulted in payment of your electricity bills. Be warned, as the Electricity Company of Ghana is coming for you. District Manager Daniel Mensah Asare says his company would collaborate with the police to crack down on power thieves. He adds power theft and non-payment of bills are hurting the company. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has the rest of the story.
The Afenya district is one of the fastest growing districts in the Tema region of ECG. Last year, customer population for the district grew by over 8,000. The company, in response to high demand for power in the area, undertook network expansion works. However, ECG says monitoring has shown that many customers are tapping power illegally, using unapproved meters, or refuse to clear their debt. The ECG has decided to engage the service of the police to prosecute recalcitrant customers. Daniel Mensah Sari is the Senior District Manager for ECG.
We are going to be more aggressive on our debtors, and when it comes to those that you call illegal connections, or those that are stealing power, or for sure those are using power and they are not paying for it, we have the revenue protection team that goes around, and what we have put in place to add to that is to also, an arrangement is far advanced to use the services of the police service to assist us in clamping down on the illegal customers or people who are using the TCT and they are not paying. So we want to send a strong signal and warning to them that they should desist from illegal connections, because we are now coming on them more seriously and aggressively than before.
Daniel Mensah Sari adds that tapping power illegally does not only affect ECG, but customers as well.
And if even a particular service that they need is not provided at that customer service, assuming that that service is not provided there, at least information will be taken and forwarded to the district office, so we can serve them and serve them better. And when they refrain from illegal connections, it will help all of us, because illegal practices can result into so many things. It can even result to fire outbreaks and can cause so many things in our homes. It can be very fatal, can lead to death and many other negative results that come out, besides the fact that we are losing revenue or we cannot account for that power. It has also its negative effect both to the customer and to us, all of us as a nation or citizenry.
Afenya District is hoping the exercise will help reduce theft. Kwame Yanke's report for JoyNews.
The Ministry of Education has dismissed reports that a World Bank-funded project seeking to improve the quality of education will end up privatizing and commercializing basic schools in the country. 4 teacher unions, NAGRAT, NAT, TEU, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers are already demanding that government suspends the Ghana Partnerships Project contract because they believe certain aspects empower the private operator to decide if it wants to work with the existing Ghana Education Service staff, including heads.
The titles do not convert education from a bad state to a good state. Whether you call it basic or not, there is the need to get an input to a student to prepare him to go to tertiary university. If we say the secondary is now basic, are the tertiaries now going to be secondary, or they remain tertiary? If they remain tertiary, then what you are even calling basic should have an appropriate preparation to qualify the person to go to tertiary. Are we going to create the gap to be an empty void between the basic and the tertiary? So for me, the terminologies don't really add up for me. We teach with syllabus and curriculum, and there are curriculum demands and expectations, and there are qualifications and competences that will be linked to the curriculum demands and expectations. So if you need a university degree holder to teach geography in a secondary school, whether you call it basic or primary, it does not change the fact that there are demands on that curriculum to prepare the students to go to university. I don't see the need to change the term. If you want to implement a free senior high school, the Constitution is specific that free compulsory basic education. If you want free senior high school for senior high, a free school for senior high school, implement the free school for senior high school. Let us not create a psychological drawback, bringing it down for them to be seen as basic, but let us rather ensure that the information, the competence, the technical skills, and knowledge that they need, that they should have to qualify them to university is giving. That is the most important thing. The provision of resources, the development of manpower to ensure that you prepare a student adequate for university. That is where.
Now, but the Ministry of Education says that will not happen. Public Relations Officer of the Ministry, Vincent Eko, so far says a decision is yet to be made on how the project will be implemented. All right, thank you very much, Mapito. That's it for the Bulletin. I'm Israel Lai. Evans Mensah is up next with PM Express. Do stay tuned in.